Welcome back to another episode of Never Under Par with your host, Ben Weaver. I'm recording this Tuesday night after Easter at RBC Heritage. Jordan Speith gets a win. It's been a minute. It's funny to see him win Easter weekend 2 years in a row. He played pretty well, and it was really exciting to see him go up against Cantlay. Man, what an ending there! I'm just gonna touch on the end of the round. I just remember seeing Cantlay on the 18 with Lowry there, and him not being able to get it together, and then after that. Them going into OT together, and it was just wild to see, Speith hit a drive off to the right in the fairway, and it was just a hard angle in, and you're looking at, Cantlay, FedEx Cup champion, you're looking at the man, and he's got an easy shot in. So Speith hits his shot, comes up in the bunker, and I'm like, that's it. Cantlay's getting on two putting. I mean, obviously Speith has a shot, but it's just not looking good for him at this point. So that's not what happened at all. I mean, Cantlay hits that shot on the fairway, and he's short right in the bunker, and I'm like, well, they'll probably both, chip her up there and get up and down and go on to the next one. And Speith just puts that thing like 2 inches from the hole. I was like, man. So, beautiful shot. Absolutely nice out of the bunker. And Cantlay obviously shoots it long. I mean, if you watched it, it wasn't close. But, man, what a weekend. Speith, I never felt like I saw... He never was really up there to the point that I considered him, oh, yeah, he's got a good shot this weekend. I mean, Cantlay was lagging behind a little bit, for most of the tournament, and I got my cousin. He's like, man, I got money on that. I got money on Cantlay making it. I'm about to cash out on $8,000. So I'm not really a Cantlay fan. He's a good guy. There's nothing wrong, but it's, to me, I like a little personality there. Maybe that's because I'm a younger guy getting into golf, but I like a little bit of an entertainment factor, and he really lacks that. Nothing wrong. His golf game's beautiful, and honestly, it probably resembles my own. It's not like a Bryson situation where the man's piping it down as hard as he can. Cantlay makes up a lot of his ground on no flashy play. I mean, most of the time it's just him hitting a decent shot from the fairway on, and his iron play is really well. I mean, it's unquestionably it's very good. But anyway, it brings me back to the BMW championship last year in Owings Mills, Maryland, at Caves Valley. My fiance got me tickets, and I was so ecstatic. And I remember seeing Bryson and Cantlay duke it out there. I mean, it was so fun to watch them back and forth. And I admittedly. I like Bryson. I'm against the grain in that route just because the man has pushed in a lot of areas that most golfers don't want to. The man tries, He puts in his best effort, and right now he's undergoing wrist surgery. I'm not saying, he's the top guy within the next few years. He might have just had his little flash in the pan, and that's it. Yeah, you never know. But when you hit the ball to that level as far as strength goes, you're bound to mess some stuff up no matter how hard you hit the gym. And that's what it's looking like with his wrist scenario. I mean, I think that's just him swinging so hard. I mean, the man was a monster hitting it so far like that, but it's just going to take its toll over time. We didn't know how long it would last, but it looks like now we see that it was just a little too much for the body to swing at that level. He might be hitting those shots in at 100 yards with those wedges every time when he really gets a hold of it, even though it was out of the rough most of the times. But that game, it seems to be fading a little bit. But Scotty, I don't even know I think he took the weekend off. I'm not sure if he played or not. Let me find out. So Scotty didn't wind up playing this weekend. I didn't catch the beginning, the first couple rounds, but I was watching it on and off Saturday and then a good bit Sunday. It was hard keeping, watching it during Easter, going from family event to family event. But, man, I had my uncle there talking to me about it, and, we start watching, and then all of a sudden he's handing me golf towels and buckets of golf balls, and that's what I love, man. Like, it's fun to come across some guys that play golf and that want to help you on your journey. I mean, they know how hard it is, and for anyone that's out there that's looking to play, it's oh man, it might be embarrassing. I've never had any background playing any of it. It's like you're just gonna suck starting off, and obviously, I mean, the best way to do it, me and my uncle were talking about, is start with those lessons. My cousin, he's got that beautiful swing just because he was taught right, and I think that's something that I highly stress. I talked about it on the last podcast. But anyway, back to PGA golf. Scotty didn't make it out this weekend, but I tell you what, Shane Lowry's been playing decent, man. I think ever since that hole-in-one on 17 at Sawgrass, that man, he's got something. And obviously the Ryder Cup, seeing him win on the, what was it, doubles? I mean, he was pumped up, and I think he's got a lot of good golf in him. That's going to be showing up probably within the next year. I really want to see him win. He's been playing pretty good. Varner had a very good weekend. He was up there in contention for the good part of it. But yeah, I mean, wow. I really am starting to forget how close it was there on Sunday for a little while, because I remember, getting back to my fiance's house, and it was like eight people were up on the top of that leaderboard, all tied at 12. I'm like, man, it's getting wild. And then obviously Speith and Cantlay were the ones to round that out at the end. But man, it was there was a lot going on there at the end. It was really cool to see all that golf going on. Anyway, I myself made it out for a round on Saturday. I left my putter and my lob wedge at home. That's what I get for trying to chip and putt a little bit at the house and practice a little bit. And I wound up forgetting it. Did not shoot well at all. My driver, I'm hitting the old ping driver that I picked up from Play It Again last year, and it's not. I'm not really feeling it at the moment. I hit it really well off the ground, which doesn't make sense. I've been hitting driver off the deck, no problem. But on the tee, man, it's like I hit it good. I hit it good Saturday, but I haven't been consistent with it. My iron play was not good either. I mean, I consider that the strength in my game, but man, it was almost non-existent. But that's how it always is. Everybody knows, you're hitting driver well don't be expecting to be hitting those irons too close. But anyway, it was a good time. Got to catch up with a buddy that I used to work with, and man, it's just so relaxing. Like, it's just calm. Played with two older dudes that used to work together too. They both are in the construction industry, and they're buddies that they go out and golf together, and same with me and my friend Chris. So we got out, got a round in, and it was a good time. It was a good time. Yeah, I think sometimes those morning rounds I'm not awake yet till halfway through it. We booked an early one at 7:20 or something like that. And I like getting around in early, just because leaves the rest of that day open. You can take care of some other things. But always good to crack a few brews open early on, and hit some balls for sure. I do have one other topic, that I meant to follow up on. Before we transition to all personal talk on the golf side, back to PGA, Cantlay getting close like that. I haven't seen him playing overly well. He's been floating out there on a couple tournaments. But I'm wondering, I want your guys' take. Maybe leave a comment or something. On social media, go ahead into the podcast website, neverunderpar.com. On there, I have a link for our YouTube channel, and also the Instagram channel. I'm looking to get some pictures out on Instagram. But the YouTube channel, you go ahead and just go in, click on when this podcast, wherever you're listening to, just put some comments of what you think about Cantlay, how he's going to do this year. What do you think? Does he have a chance of getting a shot? I don't know where he is on points right now for FedEx Cup wise goes, but it would be cool to just get your guys' take on things. Cantlay, I just, he never is flashy, but he's solid. I mean, it's early in the year. Obviously, Scotty's off to a really hot start, and he's going to be up there no matter what happens. I mean, you win all these, he's winning more than he's losing at this point, So it's like he's so hot, I just don't see him, not continuing it through the year. But you never know. But I mean, he's going to have a shot regardless in the playoffs. For sure. It'd be cool to see him. Back to me talking about the BMW when we went out there to watch Bryson and Cantlay duke it out. I was chilling at, I think it was hole 11. It's just, you could either go for the green. It was a shorter par 4, but it's a dangerous route going in. And I love seeing guys just hit balls hard, swing and hit that thing as hard as they can. And really, Scheffler didn't have to, but he wound up playing an iron and hitting it right on the edge, and chipping on. I think he got a birdie on that hole. Most people were playing out left and then hitting it on, and then getting a couple birdie or par looks. Bryson went for it also. He was a little short to the left. He had aggressive play, but those two is what stood out to me on 11, because it was I was sitting right at the corner where you could see the drive come in, and then they were pitching it on. You could see them putting. But I just remember that was my probably earliest memory of Scotty. I obviously had watched him on the TV, but I seeing him in person take a shot at it so aggressively, online, I don't know where he was really aiming, but it was pretty good. It sat above the bunker on the edge. There's a thin spot of rough before the edge of the green, and it was definitely an aggressive play, and that was man, that's pretty cool. And then obviously watching Scotty and Bryson play together, I had mentioned it in the last podcast, but it was just really cool to see those two play. And really, Scotty's been hot ever since. I'm excited to see him playing coming up in the next couple weeks. Here are some of the upcoming tournaments. We got the Zurich Classic of New Orleans, TBC Louisiana. We got Cameron Smith and Leishman. I guess they tied. Anyway, so those are the defending champs on that one. Then we got the Mexico Open. That should be interesting. And then the week after that, May 5th through 8th, it's the Wells Fargo Championship. Rory wound up winning that last year. And I'm looking forward to that because that is in my area. I'm I'm just excited to get out there. I don't know who's going to be showing up, but that's a pretty decent purse. We're looking at $9 million for the weekend, so definitely am excited about that. And then upcoming after that, we got Bryson Nelson, the AT&T Bryson Nelson, May 12th through 15th, and then the PGA Championship on May 19th. So speaking of which, seeing that flash across the screen, it's like Phil last year. I mean, what a sight! That's gonna be one of those golf memories that go down in my head. It's like one of the coolest things. I didn't ever see. I think I mentioned I got into golf. Past Tiger. I started playing when Tiger had won the Masters a couple years back. But I never really watched him in his heyday, and it was such a similar feeling to when Phil won at the PGA. It had the same feeling as Tiger winning the Masters, just because it was like, wow, Phil had just gone into the Champions League, and he pulls up from time to time. But it was cool to see Phil out there and winning, and the crowd behind him. I mean, that scene was so cool. It was Brooks Koepka paired with him, and he was buried in that crowd. And then Phil, I mean, it was just like everybody was following him, touching, reaching out. And man, when I saw him at the BMW this past year, it was so cool to see him. I think we were at hole 6 or something, or 5. He parred it, had a phenomenal chip. He hit a decent drive, hit it a little long, chipped it 4 feet away, and then knocked it in. And saw him swing that driver on. We were between the 2 holes there, and he really cranked on it. It was pretty cool. But anyway, I wonder what we're gonna see, what type of action we're gonna see from Phil, and I'm really curious to see if Tiger's gonna get back out there. But back to talking about some of the personal stories. My cousin Jordan, he got me in on this par 3, par 4 course. It was just an absolute dump, and it was a great starting point, though. You had probably 6 or 7 par 3s in a row that are all, 100 yards, 115 yards. And, it was just great repetition, and I was, loving it. He was much, better than me early on, and then now I really whip up on him when we get out to that Willow Springs place. But, man, it's quite a journey, and I think what's fun for me is I didn't have, I had my cousin get me into it, but neither of us knew what we were doing. But it's fun to recommend it to people, and the initial, if you never played, you don't understand. I have a lot of buddies that are like that, where it's like, yeah, why would I play that? That's kind of crazy. But then you get them out there, and you get them going to the range, and then you get them, out to one round of golf, and it's like you see it just click in their head. I'm like, man, this is awesome. What have I been? And now I got buddies that are trying to get me to go every weekend. And, I mean, the list is ridiculous. It's like, man, if I only had more time, I wish I could just, I got to make some money so I can get out there maybe 3 days a week or something, because I got so many people saying, oh, yeah, well, we need to go here, But anyway, it's such a joy to show someone the game and see them so adamant about it. They're like, when we going next? It's just so fun to me. And I think that's one of the joys for sure. Because it's one of those sports where, I'm playing with dudes they're like 70, they're out there chilling, having a good time. I think it's definitely one of those things where golf is solitary as far as you're playing by yourself. It's not always as social, but man, it's fun to just meet some new people and get along with them. So anyway, that's about all I got on this week for Easter weekend. I wonder how Speith's going to play in some of these upcoming tournaments. I really just see Scotty, coming back and keep on rolling. Like, I just don't see it going anywhere else. And there's a lot of talk about him, he put a little streak here or there together, but it ain't going to last, But, I mean, he's just playing well. I just don't see it changing. But anyway, thanks for tuning in again to Never Under Par. Go ahead and check our website out and our social media. I'll be putting out another podcast probably in about a week. And as far as my predictions coming up for this next week, so Scotty and Schauffele are paired up for the weekend at the Zurich. And, I mean, I like Schauffele. I just don't think he's playing hot enough. Cameron Smith is playing pretty good, but him and Leesman, I don't. Who I really like this weekend is Morikawa Hovland. I mean, the two are both young guys that I like a lot. I think they're both fun to watch. Hovland's a good dude. I'm gonna take them for the week. So we'll see where that goes. We'll see how far they go. But man, there's plenty of other good players. But as far as a lethal pairing goes, that's who I'm gonna take. That's what my money would be on for this week. Cantlay and Schauffele actually are going to be together, and Palmer and Scheffler are going to be. I misspoke on that one. So yes, that's funky because ESPN. But yeah. Anyway, I think I had that mixed up. But I mean, at the end of the day, I got Hovland and I got Morikawa. I see that's how it's going to go this week. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, it should be a good weekend. I'm definitely going to tune in and see how things go. Thanks once again for listening. If you made it this far, I really do appreciate it. Give us a subscription or subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Instagram. Give us a follow and subscribe on YouTube as well. We will be posting on all of those sites frequently, and I'm always looking forward to any suggestions on topics, anything that you would like to see me add or take out during this podcast. I have bought a microphone. Some of the sound stuff on the first episode was a little tough, but hopefully this is a little bit better quality for you guys, and appreciate you sticking it out. Anyway, you guys have a good week, and we will see you next week.